Okay,
This
so
meeting is being recorded.
I have 5:02 PM on January 6th of 2026. I will call the meeting to order for the County Facilities Planning Committee. Roll call will be Carol.
Here.
Kramer. Perry.
Here.
Turk.
Here.
Frank. Williamson.
Here.
And Cooey. All right, we have 4 of 7 present, so we do have a quorum. I, as county clerk, will verify that the meeting was properly noticed in accordance with open meeting laws. An agenda, we have a 12-point agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
First by,
Second.
okay. Or why is it so complicated? Seems to. Okay, first by David Turk and a second by Steve Carroll to approve the agenda. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. None, motion carries, agenda is approved. Do we have anyone available for public comment? I've received no public comment forms. No one's in the gallery. I don't, WRC was online, but I don't believe anyone has any public comment. So that being said, we will move on to the first order of business. Discussion of possible action on the election of a committee chair. I wasn't exactly sure how you all wanted to proceed with this, so I made ballots, if you wanted to do it by ballot, or if you just wanted a nomination. So, this is to elect the committee chair.
Does anybody want it?
Yeah.
Just say, I think we should nominate the people who didn't make it tonight.
You want to make sure they don't come anymore? That's.
Mr. Perry, would you be interested?
I really can't.
Okay.
My wife is right on the edge of Alzheimer's. And I probably shouldn't even be here at all, but
Well, you just,
I really,
no, that's fine. Thank you for being so honest and keep us updated on her as well. Because
she's still good, but I get things repeated 5 times in a minute, somewhere around an hour. And I know what's coming. That's not good.
Understand.
Mr. Carroll,
I'm not good at that. I'm really.
I would nominate Mr. Turk.
Gee, I was gonna nominate Mr. Williams.
Well, one of you can be chair, one can be vice chair.
Yeah. Gonna flip a coin or?
That's fine. Seems the other two aren't here. We wouldn't go, well, yeah. If we nominate them two, we can't run the meeting tonight.
Or you could, I guess, not and do it later and make it on the meeting, but
It don't matter. We need to get going.
I believe.
If David is willing to take the chair, I would be willing to take the vice chair. And we could put that into motions, if you guys are okay with that. We can put that into motions for a unanimous
I appreciate it.
cast unanimous ballot.
That would be my motion.
Okay,
Your motion, and I would second, or you.
Yeah.
okay, we got a first by Perry, a second by Carol, for Dave Turk to be committee chair, Steve Williamson to be vice chair.
Just for a few months.
Right, so we have a first and a second on the floor. Is there any further discussion to those? Well, we'll do item number 6 and 7 together because they're separate, but we'll do item 6 and 7 together. So any other discussion about chair and vice chair? We have Dave Turk as chair and Steve Williamson as vice chair.
I guess I didn't let Dave speak, but
Dave, you want to do it?
I will. Not especially want to, but I will.
It's short term.
Yes, I know.
Short. It'll be motivation to get through it fast.
Yeah. Plan for some short meetings.
Okay, any other discussion? So you both accepted those terms? Okay, so all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. None, motion carries. You have a chair and vice chair. And with that, Mr. Chair, I will turn the meeting over to you for item number 8.
All right, item number 8, discussion and possible action, review of committee function expectations and county facilities plan creation timeline. I'll turn it over to our administrator.
So I have in the packet for you, if guess that's, okay. I have in the packet for you, a document that kind of highlights our thoughts on this. So this was, a committee that was created in December with the goal of creating the 20-year plan. We want to take into consideration space needs, safety needs, structural needs, and maintenance needs of all the buildings. Our thought is that we have each department head provide an overview of their department's space needs, safety needs, and structural needs. So I've defined what each of those things mean. Space is really just that physical space. Do they have the room to do what they need to do? Does that room allow efficient workflow, accessibility, and future growth if needed? Safety needs is really looking at, is it a safe environment? And that's not just the offices, but the buildings. I think when we look at safety needs, we need to be looking at, you know, when you go into the clerk's office, the staff are fully open to the public. The door is locked from the outside, not the inside, so that creates some safety challenges. Those are the kind of things that we're going to be asking department heads to come and talk about. Structural needs is, does the space work for you? So if you have enough space and does the space work for you are really two different things, and that stuff we'll be working out with the department heads. And then maintenance needs is really that internal system within the building, the electrical, the wiring, the plumbing, elevators, HVAC, all of that. So we have in the form, in the packet, a form, and I can pass it around, that we are going to be asking the department heads to fill out prior to the meeting, and then we can give, you guys want to see it too? We'll have department heads fill it out prior to the meeting, but we'll also give you guys blank copies of it so that you can take notes for each of the different departments, and you can really be looking at what is it that they need and prioritizing the needs of the department heads. And then we have separate forms for the maintenance needs. So we will be working with Randy on the maintenance needs, or Chad from Pine Valley. We'll probably have Mike and Kyle when it comes to talking about Simon's, talk about those maintenance needs. But our goal is also to have Venture be in attendance at these meetings so that they're able to answer questions for us.
Would it be hard to get here in person on occasion?
To get Venture in person? I don't think it would be terribly hard to get them in person. Like, they're coming to meet with me in person on Thursday. And I've met with him one other time in person. So I can ask if they can come in person, take a time or two.
Helps me, that's all I can say.
Okay.
Makes it easier for me to grill.
So they won't want to come again. No. Are you guys comfortable with the form that we have?
I did see one thing. The last one, the technology needs.
Yes.
Do we need to list the radio towers just to acknowledge their county property? How's that work?
Well, that's a great question, because I do have on here, you know, we didn't talk about the fairgrounds. We didn't talk about the parks.
Right.
I didn't know if we wanted to talk about those here or if we wanted to talk about those at a future time.
My thought would be if we're putting together a summary of the properties that the county has to manage, they should be on that list.
Okay.
They're not necessarily part of what we're contemplating unless we're going to build a new courthouse at the fairgrounds for this discussion.
There you go.
Yeah.
Lots of buildings on it.
I guess for me, if we're saying we're trying to look at 20-year look ahead, then any financial capital commitment in the next 20 years would have to be, we'd have to figure out where they're being funded. So I don't know what.
And maybe one of the things we should be creating is a master list of all those properties.
Yeah.
And then the
Exactly.
highway department has salt sheds in various places.
And one thing that with the tower project is we've created a budget for this year. The goal is to do all of that preventative maintenance so that we're not in 7 years going, we haven't touched these towers and now we've got all these expenses. So that is one of the things that we're hopeful that we'll be able to do with that, is address issues as they come so we don't have any big surprises down.
The piece I don't know in the towers case, but I mean, in buildings, you can do PM and still something's gonna reach its end of life, even with all the maintenance stuff you've been doing, and you need to budget for it.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of components in a tower system still have to be replaced in 10 years or 20 years, even with maintenance. I have no
Right.
idea.
Right.
So,
Believe me, you will be doing replacement. It's just
Upgrades.
part of electronic.
well, there's that too.
Yeah.
More of an operations
I don't-
cost though, when
Yeah.
things have to be upgraded because of technology.
And you have generators, like each site has a generator, those have to be replaced every so often.
Yeah.
Those things, Dave and I know, they only work when you're testing them. But when they're needed, they fail.
Power goes out, you sit there in the dark, hook 'em, kick in.
So, one thing I've been wondering about is, there's a way to be proactive about funding. When we built the sewer plant, there's no way we had $30 million available. And we went to USDA, Rural Development, and they gave us a loan. Or approved our loan, and then said, but we don't have any money. So, it was like, why did you even bother to tell us? But they kept our application, and we ended up with not only enough money to build the thing, but $8 million in grants. And that really made the difference on whether we could even do the project. So there, you know, you can't get it for operating funds, but if we're constructing, then there's a possibility that we can look at.
I think Venture talked about that, didn't they, Dave, a little bit about some of them possible, like that USDA, and I'm not sure.
Yeah, in very broad terms, I think they brought it up. But
Yeah.
that's, but we need to be mindful of all those things and about commitments we make as we're learning with like Pine Valley and their heating systems. So.
And part of my hope is if we get a long-range plan together, that'll give myself, others, department heads the opportunity to explore those grant options and explore what else is out there and be on the lookout for funding resources.
If we find what we need to do in the future, then you tackle how you do it. You have to know what you want to work.
Yeah.
Or what you want to do. Makes sense.
And that's my hope with, the department heads coming in that, through them presenting, through you guys rating and putting information and notes down, that we can come up with a plan that says, okay, these are the first 4 departments that we need to tackle, that we need to work on. This is when we need to build a new jail, or if that is what we're going to do, put all of that in a time frame so that we can then, we, the administration, department heads can start putting that plan into action.
So the, your question about the form, get the form fine for getting input, but are we, at least for me, I know so little about the jail. I've heard it's got issues, they're letting us skate by, but I feel like I need to understand that better. There's something where we not just get input from the sheriff or whoever, but also have a meeting where they explain it.
That's the goal. So if you look below on the proposed schedule, so on the January 22nd, or if the schedule is approved, that's our hope, is that we have the jail and the sheriff's department give an overview for them to come in. I know they've already started a PowerPoint to put together to share with you that highlights what are the requirements, where are they out of compliance, looking at some of the challenges, the space challenges, the safety challenges, all of those things. So yes, that's what we're hoping to do. Instead of you just taking the word that we need a new jail, we want them to come and explain to you why it is that they need a new jail, looking at the report from the state so that you can see that.
Yeah, a while back, Carrie shared a couple of the inspection reports, which I'd never seen. And I'm looking through it, and to an unfamiliar person, it looked like things you could fix. You know, they were communication things or cameras or this or that. I'm thinking, well, all right, let's do that. Maybe they'll leave us alone. And that's the kind of thing I can understand, whether that inspection report was not telling the whole story, or if we make them happy with those things, maybe we buy some time. I just don't know.
Yeah, yeah. And that's my goal, is to have them come in and really talk about that.
Perhaps we could even talk to the sheriff and the jail administrator and see if interested committee members could get a tour too.
Yes.
So I know public safety members have been on tours before, but
Yeah.
this being a new committee.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful.
Well, I don't know.
The jail is back in the sixties, so that was a different facility.
I don't know if it would do any good. I mean, you've probably been with the jail inspector, Dave.
I think the last time I went through, we didn't have a jail I was never through with the inspector, and I think the last time I was through, we didn't even have a jail administrator yet. I think it was still just the sheriff, so.
I didn't know if that would be beneficial to have the jail inspector come, if available.
Well, and it's, with the jail inspector, you get your list of the violations that need to be corrected, but then there's also some overall standards for a jail if you were to build it new today versus what we have, and how far the gap is between those two things.
And that's easier for Clay to explain than
Yeah,
the
it's supposed to have a certain amount of activity space, and they have rolling carts of books in the hallways, you know. Yeah.
There could be a path where if we do these certain things, we'll stay grandfathered, so to speak. And
We've been on that path for a long time.
well,
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
What if we look at our situation, you know what, we can't do anything until we pay down Pine Valley and the towers, and then we've got some elbow room. That's 10, 12 years or whatever. And so then the question is, can we really skate by that long with the jail? And that's the question I can't answer with.
Right.
And I think that's the question we need to know, is what is the board's comfort level for when? If you want that debt paid off, okay, and then you determine that we do need to build a new jail. If we know that in 2035, we're gonna start to plan a new jail, that's what we need to know.
Right.
And that's what, when I've met with Nathan, who's the inspector of the jail, he said, we need to know that there's a concrete plan coming. Yeah. And I think,
they'd be more willing to work with us if they know there's an end.
yeah, we know we're not gonna build a new jail in the next year or two. We just know that that's not possible. I want to know from this committee, I want this committee to determine when are you comfortable with us building a new jail? So that we know, because they say from the moment you commit till you break ground, it's a 3-year process. So,
I think having that solid plan for capital improvements does carry over to other things like bonding and how that looks and stuff like that too. So it's really about the plan and having that solidified in place.
And I mean, obviously, we want to do what we can to minimize how much the levy goes up.
Right.
So.
so I will work on, and it might be later in the plan, working on the fairgrounds, the parks, boat landings, the tower. Even if we just get a list of things together and improvements that need to be made, so that you guys are aware of those things, and then we can get a good idea of, the long-term plans with the tower.
An inventory.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely.
And I'll work on putting that together and putting it in the packet. So I also listed on here the debt schedule, so you guys can kind of see where it's at, and you have one place to go to really look at that. And then the proposed schedule. That's gonna be the biggest thing for you guys, and where are you at, and is this comfortable to you? Those are the dates. We looked at twice a month to have meetings, having different departments come to each meeting, and then having 2 meetings where it's you guys really getting together and creating that final plan. We're proposing that 5 o'clock start time and having meetings be a maximum of 2 hours. And so it'll be really me working with the department heads too, to say, you need to come in, you need to be prepared.
Here.
And you need to give a 10-minute presentation so that the committee has opportunities to then ask questions and get all of their questions answered. And that's where we came up with the form in hopes that they have the form filled out. I will review it with them beforehand. And I'm gonna pick on child support. If child support comes and says we need more space, I'm gonna say, no, you don't. No, you don't. You have a lot of space down there. It might not be set up the correct way, so you don't need new space. You might just need to change how the structure of it is. And those are the things that I think are more important to talk about. And so if we can have them prepared, that will really help keep the meeting flowing.
The other ingredient I've been thinking about is the work picture stuff. You know, they threw out these numbers to, I don't know what they call it, not the replacement, but the bring up more or less up to snuff on things. And except for the courthouse, it comes up to around $4 million. But I don't know what each of those numbers gets us. In other words, like for example, Pine Valley, they gave $295,000 for bringing up to stuff on maintenance. I don't know what's in that number and how it would compare with whatever the Pine Valley administrator is going to come up with us. But I think venture maybe needs to be also part of these conversations too.
And I'm gonna ask them to be there. I have a meeting with them on Thursday and I'm gonna be asking them to be a part of all of these meetings.
Okay.
Yes. So that if there are questions that you can say, okay, you're saying there's 295,000, what are those things that you want us to prioritize? Because that's some of what we need to know too is, okay, if there's 295,000 at Pine Valley, but what are the top 2 things we need to do?
Yeah, because when you look at the report, they've got the little pie charts with, you know, X% is in good shape, X%'s not so great, and lots of pictures, but no dollars with line items in
Yeah.
those things. And getting from point A to point B would be helpful if possible.
Yeah. And sometimes with those dollar amounts, you know, this was done a full year and a half ago. Even if they would have put 295 in today's, I mean, we might be up to 350,000, if not way more.
Yeah, as long as we understand the scope that was getting us, man, with what our department people are saying they need. So,
Right. And that's what I want this committee to focus on is not the dollar amount. I want the focus to really be on what do we prioritize? What is it that we need to get done? And one thing that I didn't put on here, but I wanted to have a discussion about is our large and small courtroom. We had Tammy Johnson from the state. She works with, I can't think that right now, sorry, where she works with, but it's Capitol Police. There you go. She works with the Capitol Police and she really has come. She's done a full tour of the building. And she's really said the way our courtrooms are laid out are very unsafe. You know, if you've been in them, the judge sits here and the witness is literally right here. They can reach out, they can touch each other. She doesn't have a clear path to get to her chambers if she needs to. The small courtroom, she's actually blocked in. So the people are between her and the door. There's a lot of work that needs to be done on the 2 of them. I can share that plan with you. My hope is that based on all of the work that's already been done to assess the large and small courtroom, we can acknowledge that those are priorities that we need to be focusing on, is making pretty significant structural changes to that to ensure safety of the people who come to court.
yeah, I noticed under the admin area, you did put a lot of information there under county facilities planning. So when I looked at the one on security for the courthouse, I didn't understand what it meant. So that's what she could be helping us understand then.
So that really talks about what our courtroom should look like. The report that's in there, I think it's the 980, it's the Supreme Court guidelines for how it is. And then she actually did a report where she walked through the building. I think it was like an 80-page report. I will get it to all of you so that you have an opportunity.
But I did not see the report.
Yeah, I hadn't put it in there, so I can get that to you on paper copy, so that you have it to review.
When you think of security for the judge, for the witness, for the attorneys, and for the gallery.
Yeah, and the jury.
And
And the jury.
scary.
Yeah, yeah. And like how ours is set up is the jury's on this side of the room and their jury chambers are on this side. So if they need to get away, I mean, so it's the setup. The setup is all wrong. And that's something that, you know, they're willing to come back when the time comes to say, this is how you really need to have it set up. Even in our small courtroom, we could potentially put a doorway between the small courtroom and the law library. But that's stuff that I would love to start to work on for 2027 is putting together some plans, because those are things that have to be done. The state has come in and said, your courtroom is unsafe, your people are at threat of harm. And so we could spend a meeting to really going over all of that, or based on all of the work that has already been done, I guess I'm asking you to trust that those things are two things that need to be done. The small and the large courtroom.
And these are not new developments. We've heard about it from staff for several years.
Yeah.
But now we have formal recommendations. And
Yes. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember, I was this close to being on a jury once. I haven't been up in a courtroom since then, so I don't know how much has changed.
Yeah.
This would have been 20 years ago, probably.
I got different chairs.
Yep, we do have new chairs. We hooked them all together.
There was a huge area of spectators.
Yes, still is, yes. So I do have the folder, in the committee folder labeled County Facilities Planning Committee. That's where I have put a lot of documents. If there are additional documents that you want, please let me know before a meeting so that I can get them in there for you guys to review. We're not going to be able to take a lot of time during the meetings to review those documents because some of them are 100 pages. So we're going to really be asking you, you know, at the day that we're going to talk about Simons prior to that meeting, be looking at Venture's report that they did for Simons, you know, so that their homework is done, for lack of a better term.
Reminds me, when I was going through there, I found the report on the highway stuff. I don't remember seeing that before. Did I miss a meeting or something?
Honestly, I don't know. I knew
That was done before we started working with Venture. Josh had done that with another outlet, it might have been SEH. And had that completed before we started working with Venture. So that's just been pulled into our discussion now because it was an existing document, so.
I guess the reason I mentioned it is that for each when each of these departments they need to understand what we're looking for too. In other words, it's not just, oh, I know this boiler is getting old. It's think 20 years out and for example, Josh's roof is in decent shape, but it still may have to be replaced before 20 years is out.
Correct.
It's just an example.
Yes.
And so people are gonna have to be, you know, thinking on that line.
And that's one of the things that I, you know, when we had our department head meeting last month that I talked to department heads about is we really need to spend more time on that long-term capital improvement planning, you know, having them get a 5-year plan together by the summer and then a 10-year plan by the end of the year. And then incorporating all of that into this.
When we talk about building a courthouse, is there a way to build the jail and wait and build the courthouse, or do they have to be constructed at the same time?
Venture has told us they can be done separately. So they have talked to us about doing it separately. Now, we'll have to think about if we could do it in the same footprint that we're at, it works a lot easier. If we have to start transporting inmates for court, that's going to present some challenges. So those are the things that we need to really try to work out and hammer out. But yes, they can be built separate.
Other questions on the document for Trish?
Well, I think we really have a good start here on this sheet. And I just checked out the dates all are fine with me. I don't know. They work on mine.
So I will roll this out to department heads tomorrow, along with the forms, and really work with them on getting all of their information together so that they are prepared for the meeting.
Couple of them, I have Southwest Tech meetings. I think we better just stick with the schedule and go with it, so.
Any other questions on the document or the plan? Otherwise, the next agenda item is talking about future meeting dates, which we're kind of spilling into there.
So our next meeting then would be on January 22nd. I will check with the sheriff and confirm that him and Devin, who heads the jail, are able to come to that meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting schedule as printed with the caveat that we may change some of those dates in the future if we have to.
Okay, we have a motion for this schedule. Do I have a second?
I can second it.
Mr. Williamson seconds it. Any further discussion? Otherwise, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, then we have our tentative meeting schedule laid out. Spend a lot of Thursdays together. Any correspondence for this committee that just started today?
Under report from me, Mr. Chair.
None yet, okay. Future agenda items. We have topics laid out with our proposed meeting dates. Are there any other specific agenda items you'd like to see added for our next meeting on Thursday, January 22nd? And if the answer is not any at this time, that's okay too.
I mean, like our plate will be plenty full.
We're gonna be busy. Right. In that case, then I would be looking to item number 12 for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Perry, second by Caro. All those in favor say aye. You're adjourned.